Hi guys, welcome back to Warner Brothers Dungeon. I'm Quinn. Now, I've been covering Dune on this channel for several years now. Some people even just know me as the Dune guy. Now, I don't really think of myself that way. I mean, I do own every copy of Dune in the series, including the Brian Herbert Dune books, as well as every adaptation of Dune ever produced, and even Jodorowsky's documentary on his failed, really trippy adaptation of Dune from the 70s. I've also reviewed that documentary on this channel, as well as all the other adaptations of Dune. And I guess I do have the most comprehensive, most detailed, longest breakdown of the Dune saga on the internet that consists of endless videos with hundreds of thousands and some with even millions of views. So I guess when you put it that way, I guess I am the Dune guy on the internet. But of course, Warner Brothers doesn't seem to think so, considering that they DMCA'd my initial reaction to the Dune teaser, as well as my no Warner Brothers content breakdown of the teaser trailer, even while other people's reactions stayed up. But whatever, Porky Pig can't keep me down. This is actually an exciting day. Now actually, over the course of the last several days, more and more official images from the Dune movie have been released, and today we're going to break them down. So let's get into it. Alright guys, so first off we're going to look at the awesome covers from Empire magazine. Now the first one we've got Paul Atreides, the Lady Jessica, Duke Leto, and Gurney Halleck standing on the surface of Arrakis. There's sand blowing all around them. There's ships in the background, possibly highliners. It looks really cool, really epic. You definitely get the feel of space, sci-fi, epic adventure. Really awesome. Everyone looks really good in their roles. I noticed that Paul is wearing a still suit and Gurney is also wearing a still suit, while the Duke Leto is dressed more regally and Jessica is wearing some Bene Gesserit robes. So it's really speaking, the way they have them dressed and presented in this cover is truly representative of the roles that they spend most of the book in. So you have Jessica, who eventually becomes, a Fremen Reverend Mother and a Bene Gesserit Reverend Mother at the same time. And then you've got Paul, who becomes a Fremen leader. And the Duke Leto's position in the story is largely as a duke, so he's dressed as a duke. And then Gurney, of course, is also out in the desert, so of course he would be wearing a still suit as well. So the choice of dressing here in this image, which is obviously photoshopped, it's not directly from the film, is really good. And also Paul, of course, holding what looks to be a crysknife, which is really interesting, and I really like it because it's unsheathed. So a crysknife, if you don't know, is the tooth of a sandworm, and basically in Fremen culture, if a crysknife is unsheathed, then blood must be shed. So it's a big deal. And Paul obviously adopts Fremen culture to an extent that, it means as much to him as it would to a Fremen. Or at least almost as much, but we get into that in the later books. Alright, the next image that we got is one of the Fremen. So on this version of the Empire cover, we've got Duncan Idaho, we've got Leia Kynes, we've got Stilgar, and we've got Chani. And I have to say, I like this one better. So Duncan Idaho is actually a member of House Atreides, but he goes ahead to Arrakis before anyone else does to, do some work with the Fremen. The Duke Leto sends him there. And of course, Leia Kynes, daughter in this case of Pardo Kynes, she is leading the Fremen ecological transformation. So she would be half Fremen, half Imperial, whatever that would be. And then we've got Stilgar, who is the leader of a specific Fremen tribe. And we've got Chani, who in this movie, I am suspecting, this is my speculation, Chani is probably Stilgar's daughter with Leia Kynes. I'm thinking that's the deal. It's not been confirmed yet, but I'm thinking that is where it's going. If you look at the way the characters are framed even, it seems like that's what's happening here. But again, the characters look amazing. The costuming is epic. The blue within blue eyes, just fantastic. The ships in the background, the what looks like thopters in the background, bird-like thopters, animalistic-like thopters in the background. You can see the moons of Arrakis in the background. There's 2 moons. There's one with the mouse shadow called Muad'Dib, the name that Paul Atreides adopts later on. Yeah, everyone just looks phenomenal. I'm really, really, really excited about this one. I like it more than the one with the Atreides on it. I just do for some reason. Really, really well done. And the last Empire cover that we got is one of Mighty Shai Hulud. Now, I was looking at this image for a while, and I came to the conclusion that this is kind of a pre-rendered thing. This is art here. I think this is just kind of representative of what the sandworm will look like in the movie, or at least a little bit of it. And just looking at it, whoa, that looks different than any sandworm that we've seen so far. I mean, the book talks about just like a hole opening up with glistening white spokes within it. So it's actually pretty book accurate just looking at it right here. And then of course it looks like we've got a Fremen standing right in front. Now this here looks very reminiscent of a lot of Dune art that I've just seen online. And like I was saying previously, I think they have been looking at the Dune art online, what, you know, the fans of Dune, how they've been interpreting Dune throughout the years. And I think that's a really great thing to do. All right, the next image that I want to take a look at is one of Duke Leto and the Lady Jessica. Now this one looks cool. The Lady Jessica, in every picture that I've seen of her so far, she just looks so serious, and I live for it. Just absolutely regal, like you just know you don't want to mess with this woman. This woman has serious thoughts in her head. She is really, 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 I really, really dig the look of it, right? And also, the Duke Leto gives me a similar vibe. They just seem so thoughtful, even though I haven't even heard them speak. I haven't even heard them be these characters yet. I have no problem with just accepting that they are already the characters. Like, that look on her face here is just so powerful. So powerful. And then you can tell, just by the way he's standing, that he just respects her, and he respects whatever she's trying to communicate with him in that moment. It's just like, I just love this image so much. And then the background, it looks like this might be on, this is either Caladan or Arrakeen, and if I had to guess, I would say this is the Arrakeen Palace. Alright, so the next image that I want to take a look at is one of Paul Atreides and the Reverend Mother Gaius Helen Mohiam. Now this is, of course, the Pain Box scene. So this takes place in Castle Caladan, on the planet Caladan, the Atreides' ancestral homeworld, and you of course have the Bene Gesserit Reverend Mother coming to test Paul Atreides. So the Lady Jessica was given the order when she was first married to the Duke Leto Atreides, or not even married, when she was first assigned to him, I should say, because she's his concubine. She said, they told her, only bear daughters to the Duke. But Jessica fell in love with the Duke. She betrayed the sisterhood. She gave birth to a son. But the Bene Gesserit, if anything, they are pragmatic. So they're like, even though you messed up all of our plans, we're still going to come and we're going to test him to see if he could be, quote unquote, the one. And we don't have to get into exactly what the one is. I have a bunch of videos on all this stuff. But yeah, this is the test. And so she puts his hand in the box and he feels a bunch of pain. But like, this looks, let's talk about the aesthetic here. So Paul Atreides, again, dressed in black. And he also stands very confidently, like someone that is, he's definitely cautious of this woman for sure. This look that he's giving her communicates perfectly that he understands that this is not just some old woman. He understands that immediately just by the look that he's giving her. This is a woman to be feared. Because you have Paul Atreides, he's been trained by his mother in the Bene Gesserit way his whole life, and he's also a part of the Bene Gesserit breeding program, so he's hyper alert. So he is immediately aware about things. He's immediately aware of certain things about her, right? She looks like an old woman, but make no mistake, she could kill you easily with like the twitch of her finger, without even using a Gom Jabbar, really, if she wanted to, because she's a highly trained Bene Gesserit Reverend Mother. So yeah, this looks really cool. Like I said, this is on Caladan. It's in some kind of study room. There's bookshelves in the background. Nothing too wild here. I love the headdress that the Reverend Mother is wearing. I love the veil. She just looks totally creepy, totally scary. And it's actually pretty impressive that Paul Atreides looks so confident in her presence, because I would be afraid. I would be afraid if, like, my mom woke me up in the middle of the night and took me to go be tested by this creepy woman, some weird test that I don't even understand, Yeah, I'd be creeped out. So good job, Paul, on not totally losing your crap in the face of Reverend Mother Guy's Helen Ohio. Alright, guys, so the next one we have is on Arrakeen, and it appears to be Timothée Chalamet as Paul Atreides, dressed in all black, as we've seen him most of the time. Now, on the wall is some kind of mural etching of what looks like a sandworm, maybe even being ridden by a Fremen. I possibly see some maker hooks going on, I'm not too certain, but it's really, really interesting looking. It looks like it's quite ancient, like it's been there for a very long time. Of course, Timothée looks really good as Paul Atreides. He's in all black, like in most of the images that we've seen of him so far. But yeah, this is a very simple image. Looks really good. So the next photo we're going to look at is a super awesome one of Jason Momoa as Duncan Idaho. Now, if you don't know about the character Duncan Idaho is the Atreides swords master. He went to the Giannis school. He's highly loyal to House Atreides because they rescued him from Harkonnen slave camps. So we have a shot here of him just unleashing some badassery upon, it looks like some either Sardaukar soldiers or Harkonnen soldiers. But whatever, it looks amazing and epic. This could even be like some kind of training sequence, I'm not sure. But yeah, I can't wait to see Jason Momoa be super awesome again. I mean, I really enjoyed him as Khal Drogo in season 1 of Game of Thrones. And I also really enjoyed him as Aquaman. I thought he did a great job as Aquaman in those DC movies. But here, like, I was a little skeptical about the role and how he would fit in as Duncan Idaho. But like, seeing all the images that have come out, and I think he can make it work. I really do, and I'm very excited to see how he does this character, and epicness all around. I'm not sure where exactly this is taking place. There appears to be sand all around, so this could be a Fremen siege actually, which is interesting because I'm imagining too. So since I did say that, let's look at this image as well. So we got another image of the Duke Leto and Gurney Halleck, and they're in their armor and they're looking out with binoculars, and this appears to be on Arrakis. Now that I'm seeing the Duncan Idaho image that we just looked at, which looks like it could be inside of a Fremen siege, and it appears like there might be some kind of confrontation that we see early on in the movie, like some kind of battle sequence initially before the later happenings in the movie, something that's maybe added for more action, because Frank Herbert does tend to downplay the action in the novel, and it would be interesting, and I think it would work a lot for a cinematic production to like maybe add in something to show how well trained the Atreides soldiers are, because that is key. The Emperor feared the Atreides because their soldiers were so well trained. So that would be interesting to see as well. And again, I love the armor. I love everything that's going on. The Duke Leto, Oscar Isaac looks amazing as the Duke Leto. I can't believe I was skeptical of him and his ability to portray this character. He's absolutely perfect and fits right into it. Now let's move on to possibly my favorite Dune new image that's come out so far. And it's this one. This is Paul, Jessica, Chani, and Stilgar in the desert. And I am living for it. Like, once again, Rebecca Ferguson as the Lady Jessica looks so serious. That look on her face says that I am a Bene Gesserit and you are not about to mess with me right now. I'm about to get shit done, and I live for it. Chani as well looks awesome. Stilgar looks amazing. And an interesting detail here is Paul's suit fits way tighter than Jessica's. He is wearing his suit in the Fremen way. He will know our ways as though he were born to them. So there's a whole thing with a prophecy. Paul is just highly attuned and aware. So he put on the Fremen suit perfectly, basically, intuitively, when usually it's a little bit difficult for outsiders to do so. And so if you look at Jessica's suit here, it's a little bit baggy compared to Paul's. It's a little bit tighter fitting, the same way that Stilgar and Chani's is. And I think that's a fascinating detail, and that really shows you that Denis Villeneuve and the creative team behind this movie really get it. All right, so awesome picture. And the next one we got is the Harkonnen troops. Whoa. So I imagine that this is Giedi Prime. It must be Giedi Prime, like dark sky, it's dark. Now, Giedi Prime is an awful, awful place in the Dune lore. It basically tells us that this used to be somewhat of a nice place, but it just got messed up by like total just like disrespect for the environment, and they just totally ended up ruining this planet, and so now it's just kind of like a slum. So you got Harkonnen troops lining up. I mean, there's gonna be blood. There's gonna be blood. And you got ships in the background as well. This looks very, 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 very menacing. I am super excited to see what is happening here. I'm not sure what that figure is or what that thing is right in the middle. I don't know if that is the Baron standing on something or what even that is. I don't know, but I'm so freaking curious. The look of this is very, very Villeneuve, but it's also sufficiently weird. It doesn't really quite look like any other thing that I've seen, and the design of those ships as well is very, very interesting, but it is certainly Denis Villeneuve-esque, and I really, really enjoy that. So we got another one of the Fremen, Stilgar and the other Fremen. Just take a moment to look at this. So awesome. These are the most book accurate Fremen that we've ever had, and I couldn't be more excited. It just makes me so happy to see them in headdresses, to see them in robes on top of still suits. They look like people that live in the desert. They look like people that live in the desert. They really do. And then just absolutely killer costumes. They all... Javier Bardem just couldn't look more perfect as Stilgar. I don't even know what to say. Just phenomenal. Great, great job, set designers. Book accurate. I live for it. It's really, really well done. And we got a couple more pictures to look at. The next one is a close-up of Paul Atreides and Chani. It looks like in a Fremen siege. Now, I'm wondering about what point in time would this scene be happening. This could be before or after Jessica converts the water of life. I'm not sure. I'm imagining that this is probably before Jessica converts the water of life. It's probably a few scenes before that, or a little bit before that. And I feel like they're probably doing some things initially early on to build up the relationship between Paul Atreides and Chani, because that was something that the David Lynch movie absolutely did not do. I mean, the Dune miniseries did a much better job, but the David Lynch movie did not do a good job on Chani at all. So I'm very, very curious to see how they expand upon this relationship and make it more palpable and more believable than the David Lynch version, which is just like, cut her in, she's there, go away. And the final image that we have to look at, guys, from the officially released Dune images is an up close one of Layet Kynes. The female Layet Kynes. Now, there's been a lot of controversy about Layet Kynes, of course, from a few people. I feel like the vast majority of people totally dig the look of it and totally realize that even with this small change that is probably meant to streamline the storyline, as I was mentioning earlier, they're probably going to make Chani the daughter of Stilgar and Layet Kynes, which makes perfect sense because it just interconnects the characters in a better way. And it also... Chani is a daughter figure for Stilgar anyway, and he's a father figure, obviously, so it just makes sense anyway to do it like this. And just looking at this character, looking at the way she's dressed, excellent. Excellent. It looks like Dune. It looks different. I dig it. I'm into it. So that's all I got for you today, guys. I'm really, really excited about all the images that have come out. I'm so unbelievably excited about the look of Dune, the aesthetic. It looks serious as a heart attack. It looks dark. It looks like they're not taking any breaks. They're gonna hit us hard, and I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. And they've only shown us a little bit. I'm still curious to see what the time stamp is gonna look like on this movie. How long is it gonna be? Because it really needs to push that 3-hour mark, I think, to work right. So let's say this first half is 3 hours, and then the second movie is also 3 hours. That's 6 hours to tell the Dune book story, which is the amount of time that the miniseries had. And I've always said, if you go back and watch my miniseries review, that the miniseries is the most accurate adaptation of Dune that's ever come out, because they had that time. They had about 6 hours to do it. So if Denis Villeneuve could do 3 hours this movie and 3 hours the other movie, I think he could pull off the whole Dune story pretty effectively. And what we've seen so far just looks amazing. They're respecting the source material, they're respecting the book, and I couldn't be more excited, like I said, for this creative team. Even though Warner Brothers kind of tries it sometimes, the creative team behind this project is top tier. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. There's a lot of really interesting stuff that goes on there. And also, if you want to support this channel, click the Patreon link in the description. And I will be totally redoing my Patreon at some point, so that is upcoming. And also, you can support this channel by clicking the PayPal link in the description and leaving a one-time donation. Thank you guys so much.